두 눈을 감아도 보이는 수많은 sound of silence.
At number 1 by New Core, the same lead developers behind the one and only game I Am Zombie, and from a few days ago only, we have a brand new game called The Devil Within Sad Gat, a 2D 3D style action adventure this time around, however, in which you'll take on a role of a warrior who has been infected by demon blood, and so occasionally he just lets some of it out. Unintentionally though. Check it out. Game currently doesn't have a release date, but it is coming to all gaming platforms upon release, possibly early next year.
두려워질 거야. Never turn up. 더 이상 뒤돌아보지 마. 오직 너만 깨울 수 있는 멈춰진 시간. Everything's gonna break up. 돌이킬 수 없는 세상을 볼 순 없어. 오직 너만 지킬 수 있는 세상. We're gonna wake up. 그림자들을 지워버려. 이제 나만 바꿀 수 있는 이곳.
不気味なところね。まるで魔界。学校が魔界みたいになるなんて。
Now, by the one and only developers of Bloodstained, we actually have another Castlevania-inspired project in the making since last year called Grim Guardians Demon Purge. And pretty much as it seems like the Curse of the Moon games, this has drawn influence from the original Castlevania games a lot. Take a look. Game is coming to PCs and Switch, other consoles as well, possibly later this year. At number 3, and to be quite frank, I don't even really know where this came from, even though in fact it's been in development since 2019, I've just came to understand. We have something called Greenleaf Station, an indie game so to speak, and by the sole Chinese developer called Summerclip. Guys, this is some new in-game footage. The game is actually in active development. It is possibly one of the best looking action platformer games in the making right now, and it's set to be released early to mid next year for PCs and consoles too.
Penitent One, there is something greater than the Mother Church, greater than the miracle.
Alright guys, I don't know if this is news to you or not, but Blasphemous has a sequel in the making ever since the DLC announcement last year, and it's supposed to hit the consoles and PCs, even Switch, and by the end of 2023. At the moment, there's nothing known about this Blasphemous 2, however, but just in case you are totally new to this whole thing, this is a side-scroller that mixes intense action and some light Metroidvania elements and some Souls mechanics as well. It's the best.
I no longer have the power or the words to describe it. Her faith will never let this light pass. Not even you believed in her.
At number 5, and from a tad over a month ago, we have Volunteer: The Ascension. This is a story-driven adventure Metroidvania style something based on a few Asian folklore, Southeast Asian I've heard, and as stated by developers takes plenty of inspiration from games like Full Metal Alchemist. Some fully voiced characters, an original soundtrack, a gorgeous 2D hand-drawn animation in my opinion, and last but not least coming over to PCs only in about a few months.
Well, what are we making?
My professional opinion? Get all the help you can.
We've got your back, hero.
Anyone here?
Only anguish fills this residence, Benedict.
Now, if you're into Lovecraftian stuff, which, why wouldn't you anyway, but also have a passion for Metroidvania games, I'm assuming you do, I would say you're probably in luck this time, because a few days ago, we did come across a new IP called The Last Case of Benedict. Well, what developers of which even describe to be a thrilling, mystery, soft Metroidvania side-scroller, and a lot in the same vein of old Castlevania. Guys, take a look. Case of Benedict Fox is coming to PCs and Xbox consoles, pretty much acting as a Microsoft exclusive and due out early to mid 2023.
With your trustworthy demon companion by your side, as Benedict you will need to fight other demons that will cross your path. And as you search for clues that will allow you to unfold the mystery back in the real world, you will encounter different limbos, each with various menacing biomes and threats within.
Now, I've mentioned this one before, but for a really good reason, just in case you missed it once again, this is probably one of the most mind-blowing things you'll ever heard this whole year. And why? Well, because we have something in the making since last year called Crown Sword that is sitting on a Kickstarter campaign that already gathered more than 10 times its initial goal, and about 20,000 backers or something, which is huge. The game is a Metroidvania with a strong design, emphasis on exploration, combat, and a good story arc as well here. Check it out, this is coming to PCs and Switch only sometime next year. Moving on, we have Lotus Knight, another 2D platform action game about a girl who was born from a lotus flower after the death of her mother. See, story-wise the game seems to have something to say, and gameplay will mostly inspired by the old Hollow Knight with Metroidvania elements, explorations to boot, and some pretty interesting character decisions that will actually lead to different endings, so to speak. Anyway, game's set to be coming to PCs only sometime later this year.
You're broken. Still okay on the inside, though.
At number number 10, and believe it or not, this is actually the oldest game of all time to have been stuck in development, but just in case you're new to what goes by the name Ghost Song. Something through a Kickstarter campaign, well, some of you might even remember that the game was supposed to be released for the Wii U all the way back 5 years ago. The good news is that the game is now finally back on its feet, releasing for every single platform there is, and on November 3rd this year. Check it out in case you missed it.
I'm sorry that happened to you. Another statue? We could have talked instead.
Machina Blade, on the other hand, is, well, first off, and you can tell right away, pretty much inspired by games like Dead Cells, Risk of Rain, and even a little bit of a Devil May Cry something if they made them pixel art style, however. In which, though, you get to choose a character and explore this ever-changing floating island thing while fighting your way through hordes of machines, with up to 4 players as well, in local co-op, obviously. Anyway, game's actually releasing in about a few days from now and on PCs only. Moving on, we have by Lucid Dream Studios, a brand new game that's from no more than a couple of weeks ago called Biomorph. This is a side-scrolling Souls-like Metroidvania that is technically releasing for PCs and Switch early to mid next year. It is drawing inspiration from games like Kirby and Mega Man, as stated by developers, except you play as this character that shapeshifts itself into its enemies and does whatever they do to take care of the situation. Check it out, the game's coming to PCs and Switch only sometime next year. Now, at 12, we have something here called Lucid. This is a class action platformer, pretty much inspired by the Golden Age stuff, with some fine-tuned gameplay system. Gameplay-wise, I gotta say, it's pretty much a Castlevania, with an emphasis on exploration and story, and a soundtrack, as developers stated, inspired by the old Donkey Kong games, which is pretty good. There's a huge cast of enemies and characters to meet, it's got a big lore, the game is on its way to PCs and due out, we're here by the end of 2022. Coming up behind that at number 13, and technically available on Steam right now and even through a free demo as I'm speaking, something called Grime, which is probably just a perfect mix of Souls-like with Metroidvania, if I've ever seen one, and for the past few years, I believe. And all of it actually wrapped up in this superb leveling system that just wouldn't let you get bored. It's got a good design, a good replay value, the game's sitting on Steam for $25. Next up we have, well, from June last year, something that's been in development since 2020 called Akitori. And I believe it's gonna be kicking a Kickstarter campaign very soon. Not really sure, but the game is finally releasing for PCs and Switch as well later this year. Well, Akitori is an action platformer and a Metroidvania, so to speak, about parallel dimensions and stuff. Check it out, this is actually some in-game footage. And last but not least, we have Bravery and Greed. Now, this is a beat-em-up roguelite dungeon brawler, however, and actually playable for up to 4 players at once. Online, of course, co-op, split screen, story mode, survival, different modes, it's all pretty much right up there. The game's releasing for PC, Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation consoles as well, both generations, and by the end of this summer. Take a look.